Testing, testing, testing.
Council meetings, June 9th, it is 7:01 p.m. Sorry.
Of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please do the roll call.
Alderman Roll,
Here.
Alderman Carr. Here. Alderman McGee,
Here.
Alderman Fairwell,
Here.
Alderman Ruthenberg,
Here.
Alderman Montoya. Alderman Jackson. Five present, Your Honor.
All right, presentation of general proceedings, we need a motion to approve the minutes from May 26, 2026, City Council. Is there a motion? Alderman Fairwell, second by Alderman McGee on the question. Clerk, please do the roll call.
Alderman Roll,
Aye.
Alderman Carr. Aye. Alderman McGee.
Aye.
Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Ruthenberg.
Aye.
Five ayes, Your Honor.
Carries. The motion to approve the minutes from May 26th Committee of the Whole meeting. Is there a motion? Motion by Alderman Carr, second by Alderman Ruthenberg on the question. Clerk, please do the roll call.
Alderman Roll,
Aye.
Alderman Carr. Aye. Alderman McGee.
Aye.
Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Ruthenberg.
Aye.
Five ayes, Your Honor.
Carries. Public comment. As a reminder, the public comment period is not a time for dialogue. The purpose of the public comment period is for the mayor and aldermen of the city to receive input from their community. It is in fact a one-way communication to the city council. The city's administration and department heads are available for discussions after the meeting. Is there any public comment?
Your Honor, we honor City Council and Attorney Aaron, I saw a couple weeks ago. Name is Thomas Madrigal, I live at 13427 Mosler Street, Royal, Illinois. Initially, I'd like to say I appreciate all the banners on Western Avenue of our military men and women. When I was in service, I was a boy, I was 19 years old. I appreciate it very much. I know that the banners are at the library here in Berlin. A few things I'd like to mention. I tell my people, my neighbor, come to City Hall, because I shouldn't talk all the time. But anyway, Francisco's from 135th and Broadway, the streets are bad. I don't know who takes care of potholes. It's bad. It's just, I don't know if the city, Gravens or county takes care of it. And also too, coming north on Francisco and under the Viaduct Bridge on Wyerton Road, there's a big pothole there on the right side. I don't know, whose ward that, so forth, so I know a lot of people mention that. And also too, in my neighborhood, parking is a premium. I mean, it's hard to get parking, and there's I was mentioned at least there's people with their trucks in the street, not that takes space. I don't know if there's ordinance on that, those people got to park in a private place, something like that. But like I said, and also too, that the business at the end of the road there, they throw a lot of dirt up the air, and it's a lot of dust. I know the street sweeper goes by there, but I wonder if they tell the company spray water on the whatever recycle place, because just a lot of people tell me that more or less about all that it does. And appreciate you listening to me. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Okay, good evening, Mayor, and also to our city council. Ollie Clements, reporting as a resident of Blue Island and also from Mission Covenant Church. I would like to invite each and every one of you out, and the date would be June the 20th. It's a Saturday from 12 to 5. We're hosting our very first free community wellness event that's going to include access to medical screenings, medical health resources, community support services, health and wellness vendors, and then also I'll be responsible for the kids zone. Okay, now there are a couple of things that have come up. with me. I'm gonna pass out flyers to all of you this evening, and so hopefully that you can participate or talk to your residents about coming out, because this is a community event. It's not just for one single church, but it's for the whole community of Blue Island. Now, when I was checking in this afternoon, I was leaving flyers at the Park District. I just happened to be looking through, what is it, the YouTube or the online where people are sharing information, and I happened to run across something as it relates to teenagers and teenagers spotting certain areas or wanting to do things that might be harmful. So I know the Park District's aware of it and also the police department, but I do want Blue Island to remain a wonderful place. And so we do a lot of activities for the teenagers and for the young people that are in school. And I'd like for them to have the mindset of maintaining property and being respectful of other human beings. And so let's just keep a tab on that. And so I'm already aware that, for this afternoon, and also the police department's aware of any young people wanting to start some bash, something. And that would actually be on I think the 20th was the date they cited. Okay. So I would like for you all to be considerate and very kind and talk about this upcoming health fair that Mission Covenant is responsible for, but it's to activate activities throughout the city. I've been able to talk to other churches as well. So looking at how we can combine our efforts, and we are looking forward to marching in our 4th of July parade. So I'm very happy about that. So everyone have a great evening.
Thank you.
Good evening, Marie Miniman, resident 12738 Greenwood Avenue, presenting a request on behalf of resident Jeanette Hoyt of 12813 Maple Avenue. This is a formal request for revision of Blue Island ordinance standards from the citizens of Blue Island. The request is that the Blue Island City Council, pursuant to an alignment of municipal zoning best practices with the state of Illinois public health and environmental standards, address the following concerns and identify any gaps that are currently in the city of Blue Island ordinance that are not currently addressed, but are covered in the state of Illinois to guarantee resident environmental and public health standards. Pursuant to the municipal zoning best practices and state environmental frameworks, I request that this document be immediately entered into official public record and attached as a mandatory addendum to any forthcoming application, file special use permit, or zoning variance petitions submitted by Builders Capital, its subsidiaries, or representatives for this property, or other proposed property developments going forward. Because the developer's representative openly at the meeting of May 12th, confirmed to residents at a council session that the significant interest penalties are driving their timeline, there is an immediate risk of a rushed, unvetted approval process, at least as far as the citizens of Blue Island can observe. To protect our community from irreversible infrastructure damage, I demand that prior to development, that this or any future applicant fully address and resolve the following 5 omissions before any public hearing is closed or voted upon. 1, mandated acoustic drone engineering study. Under Illinois Pollution Control Board Regulations 35, Section 3, Administrative Code 900, the applicant must submit an independent third-party sound engineering assessment. And this is Illinois standards. This must model continuous low-frequency 24/7 ambient drone from thousands of server cooling fans against the adjacent residential property lines in downtown Western Avenue, commercial corridor, and outdoor public spaces. 2, Lake Michigan water allocation audit. The applicant must provide a formal water engineering survey detailing the precise millions of gallons of daily cooling water this facility will require. The audit must prove that such a facility will require. The audit must prove that such immense pull will not cause the city of Blue Island to violate its strict legal water division caps enforced by the Illinois Department of Natural Resources, IDNR. Infrastructure, cost shift protection. The applicant must provide a certified financial and grid capacity audit, proving that massive electric load required by an AI data center will not trigger local ComEd grid upgrades whose multi-million dollar costs will be passed on to Blue Island residential ratepayers. And this is in acknowledgement of double-digit increases that that Blue Island residents have seen or will see. We saw double-digit last year and we're about to see double-digit this year. It was announced 2 weeks ago. And this is all in assistance of the data centers that are being built. 4, IEPA air quality permit and particulate review emissions to ensure the applicant must disclose the exact number, fuel source, and testing schedules for the rows of heavy-duty industrial backup generators planned for the site. A complete cumulative air quality assessment must be mandated to track fine particulate matter emissions to ensure compliance with state environmental justice boundaries. Comprehensive plan alignment. A heavy industrial infrastructure use is a direct violation of Blue Island Comprehensive Plan, which explicitly designates historic Western Avenue corridor for walkable, mixed-use, commercial, medical, and residential development. Furthermore, in light of the landmark grid and consumer protection regulations currently being debated in Illinois under the Illinois Power Act, State Bill 4103 and House Bill 5513, I formally request this site, request City Council table any and all official actions on this site until the state legislature finalizes these baseline statutory community protections. I look forward to your written confirmation that these objections have been successfully attached to the Gregory Avenue property file and distributed to all Blue Island Council and PCBA commissioners. Thank you. Respectfully submitted, Jeanette Hoy. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Under mayor's report,
Just a short one. I'm Joy Clutter. I live at 2152, 123rd Street. And as you've noticed, everyone who spoke before me was clear and distinct and easily understood. So I'm respectfully asking that you use your mics and you slow your speech down so that it can be understood and make sense.
thank you. Thank you. Any other public comment?
Like we said, Alderman Montoya entered at 7:03.
Thank you. We need a motion to approve payroll dated June 5th, 2026, in the amount of $487,293.67. Is there a motion? Alderman Carr, second by Alderman Fairwell on the question. Alderman Fairwell.
Yeah, there's something I want to point out about this payroll. I saw it and I went back and looked at the last payroll and I see a similar issue. And I don't know if it's just some crossfires or not, but it seems like kind of a significant problem anyway. I don't know how to resolve it, but there's several departments where the gross and net amounts make virtually no sense when you total them up. As an example, General Government 409 actually shows a higher net pay than gross pay. As a different example, Clerk's Office 403 shows a withholding rate of 73%, which I doubt. And so the departments understand 403, 409, 412, 415, 430, 520 all have significant anomalies that I just completely scratch my head. So I don't expect, an answer right now, but I think we need to look at that.
No, I think we got an answer because I know I withheld when I was an alderman 100% of my pay. So Mark, if you want to answer that.
What?
Which whatever questions, I know the withholding clerk's office, I can only assume if I withheld with 100%, the clerk's probably doing something similar.
So the differences between the net pay and the gross pay, you'll see these names will pop up twice, is, for example, the Public Works Department, 50% of their salary comes out of the water fund, 50% of their salary comes out of the general fund. My salary, 75% comes out of general fund, 25% comes out of water fund.
So in that particular case, Public Works shows a negative 38%. In other words, net is higher than gross. And Water Department shows a 69%. Withholding rate.
I'm gonna have to look into.
Yeah, but I just, the numbers seem, please do, because that don't make sense to me.
And Alderman, I was just going off of when I was an alderman, I deferred the whole, what was it, $500 for getting paid? I deferred the whole thing, so it showed up 100% deferral rate for
Actually,
me.
the alderman's actually makes some sense.
Yeah, I'm just,
Those are clean, yeah. those
I'm
are
going off
straight
final
checks
exam, because
out.
I was asked that before, how does 100% exempt? I said, well, because I put the whole thing in 457 or whatever, you know, so it shows up 100% deferred.
Okay, well, hey, there it is. Thank you.
Any other questions? And if you have specifics, I think we can answer those. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman McGee.
Aye.
Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Ruthenberg,
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
6 ayes, Your Honor.
Motion carries. Under B, a motion for approval of accounts payable dated June 10th, 2026, the amount of $465,393.54. Is there a motion? Motion. Alderman Ruthenberg, second Alderman McGee on the question. Alderman Fairwell.
Okay, we have one here, for, Hesperic, which is voucher 6198. But again, last two payrolls, or the last two payables, the Hesperic billing, covered the periods it said, in the first one, period 4/6 through 4/20. And then this one, it says it covers period 4/17 through 4/29, which would technically be their double billing is for 4/17 through 20, which I hope not. But it's something to just double check and make sure that we're getting the correct billing. Also, just probably more importantly, the billings in the last two checks are $26,600. Which, looking at the budget, seems awful high. I'm wondering if we know what's going on, and maybe it's an anomaly or something, but it just seems like it's a high billing recently done.
So I can speak on that as well. Some of the consultants that are associated with Kispera don't always submit their time in order for them to invoice. So they'll add on their time the next invoice. And then regarding the larger amounts, because we are in audit season right now, we're trying to wrap up that.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions? Clerk, please do the roll call.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman McGee.
Aye.
Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Ruthenberg.
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
6 ayes, Your Honor.
Motion carries. I think majority of the council tonight's these bids. So C is the first one, motion to approve the bid of Habitat Surfaces and Edges, principal named Carlos Garcia for the purchase of 12620 Sacramento, Blue Island, Illinois. It's one building that has two addresses. They were the highest bidder. Is there a motion? Alderman Fairwell, second by Alderman Carr on the question. Alderman Fairwell.
Two questions here. Number one, I'm just curious, how many more city properties does the city owe? Do you have any idea?
We put them up as soon as we get them. We put liens on properties that are go abandoned. It's less and less. I mean, this is a lot less than we were dealing with before. Like this property, we were maintaining probably for 3-4 years before we got access to it. I mean, the roof's caving in, you're buying 4 walls.
Okay.
It's about 4,000 square feet.
All right.
It probably would need a couple $100,000 to bring it up to code. The other ones are all vacant lots. Some were homes we tore down because there were, like I said, trees growing through them probably, and we took liens and no one fought to fight us to pay off the debt that was owed. So the courts give us title to the property.
Okay, so do we like own less than 10, 20 properties?
At any given time, we shouldn't own anything after we sell these off until
Okay.
the next round of something we put a lien on
All right.
goes through.
And then I just noted that all 3 of these are bids are for $15,000, which maybe it's just a coincidence. It is, I guess. It's
Are they all
unusual. There's reason for that.
Rembrandt's 8,000.
But we have four properties and 3, I think, maybe, 3 are for 15 and 1 is for 8. Just jumped out at it. I just noted, that's all.
Any other questions? If not, clerk, please do the roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, you just see, go ahead.
Just see, yeah.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman McGee.
Stay.
Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Ruthenberg,
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
5 ayes, 1 abstain.
Motion carries. Under D, motion to approve the bid of Raphine Construction, Principal Joshua N. Guano, for the purchase of 2954 141st Place, a vacant lot. Alderman Carr, second by Alderman McGee on the question. Alderman Fairwell.
So we accepted less than the highest bid.
This was the highest.
Oh, yeah.
Recall.
I thought in the committee level, I don't have it, I thought there was a 30,000 and this is a
You have the answer,
50,000.
Mark? So another person that bid on the property, he was an LLC, and their LLC was dissolved by the Secretary of State. So we would enter into a contract with the LLC that's dissolved.
Alderman McGee. Okay. Any other questions? Clerk, please do the roll call.
Alderman Roll,
Aye.
Alderman Carr,
Aye.
Alderman McGee, Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Ruthenberg,
Aye.
Alderman Montoya. 5 ayes, 1 abstain.
Carries. Under E, the motion to approve the bid for David Smolak for the purchase of 1859 Burr Oak. It's the third round of putting this out to bid. Is there a motion? Alderman Fairwell, second by Alderman McGee on the question. Alderman Fairwell.
That's the last one I found. The bid letter acknowledges that they'll be completed by a quick claim deed. Just want to make sure that there's no encumbrances or anything clouding this transaction. Seems like curious why it's a quick claim deed.
We'll grab the title and look at it before, if there are any issues with the title.
This is the, just for council, this is the old Banker Vault. City's owned it for actually quite some time. No one's bid on it the last few rounds. I think one person bid never came through. I would say if this doesn't go through, we probably talk about demolition. Any other questions? Clerk, please do the roll call.
Alderman Roll,
Aye.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman McGee.
Aye.
Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Ruthenberg,
Abstain.
Alderman Montoya. 5 ayes, 1 abstain.
Motion carries. Under F, motion to approve the bid of Rembrandt Builders LLC, Principal Terry Sullivan, for the purchase of 12801 Lincoln vacant lot. Is there a motion? Motion by Alderman Ruthenberg, is there a second by Alderman McGee on the question? Clerk, please do the roll call.
Alderman Roll,
Aye.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman McGee, Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Ruthenberg,
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
6 ayes.
Motion carries. Under G, a resolution for the city of Blue Island, County, Illinois, authorizing and approving a proposal from Alliant Insurance Services for renewal of the mobile vehicle insurance from AGCS Marine Insurance Company. This is for our fleet of cars, the fire car, yeah. Is there a motion? Alderman Fairwell, second by Alderman Ruthenberg on the question. Clerk, please do the roll call.
Alderman Roll,
Aye.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman McGee. Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Ruthenberg,
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
6 ayes, Your Honor.
Motion carries. Under H, a resolution for the city of Blue Island, Cook County, Illinois, authorizing and approving the execution of a scope of work agreement with Optiva to conduct the city's email migration to Office 365. Is there a motion? Alderman Roll, to second Alderman Carr on the question. Alderman Roll, and then Alderman McGee.
Yeah, I just was glad to see this. I think it's way overdue. I don't think we've done a good job maintaining our own email server. Is the current email server backed up? Do we back it up as a regular process?
I'm no expert. However, yes, we do have backups as, again, probably know more about the subject matter than I do, Alderman. We have, our servers are local, they exist here. We do backups, if not every 24 hours, then if we were to have an incident where, similar to the 2019 malware attack or physical damage of some form, we would likely lose a small cache of data, but we would still have backups that would be within, I don't know, 24, 48, 72 hours. I can get some more clarity from IT on that.
Any other question? Alderman McGee.
Is the services gonna be the same? Are we gonna see the same?
You should notice very little difference in your actual interaction, with the exception of a few problems. Yeah, I don't know if everyone here has dealt with having to call for more storage when you're getting the yellow
Oh, yeah.
blinking
Yeah.
triangle, because
All the time.
yeah, we're using so much more data right now, right? Pictures, PDF files, graphic files, Simple things like a newsletter are now very large files when you do your search. So we should be getting some advantages out of here. More storage space, more room to maneuver, basically, for lack of a technical term. So, we should have better, offsite in terms of, traveling with phones and tablets. We should have a few less hiccups on that front. Your actual email, how you interface it, we did a very similar migration, prior when I had Alderman Ruthenberg's position at the Park District. We did a very similar, almost the exact same thing. This is just on larger scale. And we saw no, we didn't have to relearn anything, right? But we got a lot more, a lot more out of it. And also, with our legal discovery situation, right? We find ourselves in situations where we have to produce a lot of information very quickly because judges are not patient. This will get us up into the 2020, into the 21st century, get us up to modern day with this.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman McGee.
Aye.
Alderman Fairwell.
Aye.
Alderman Ruthenberg.
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
6 ayes, your honor.
Thank you. Motion carries. Last one is an execution of an First Amendment to the lease agreement between the city of Blue Island and the Chicago Rail Link regarding the Omnitrax land and 90th acres. Tom, you want to just briefly mention this?
So as you recall, we signed a lease with Omnitrax for the 119th Brownfield property. Part of that lease was a due diligence period, which we are approaching the end of, or in fact, just about at the end of it. So that due diligence period, which did require some legwork on our administrative front as well as on my general Washington side, was to essentially recreate the lease history of the existing leases on that property. As you know, it was a patchwork of leases, some of which we had good paperwork on, some of which we had no paperwork on.
Some were 30 years old.
Yeah, some are 30 years old, some had renewals, 10-year renewals that just fell off and never got renewed. But we're also, we weren't looking to show up and start drumming people out. So it was a series of conversations of working essentially for the existing entities like Clues Construction or Christie Weber that want to stay, getting them paired up with Omnitrax to sign new leases with Omnitrax, or in the event that they don't want to sign a lease with Omnitrax to set terms for, 6 months, a year, or whatever, for them to phase out. So we now have, and I'm going to be presenting at a council meeting in the near future, an aerial map that shows accurate, up-to-date, modern, leases on these properties with Omnitrax. And then we're gonna start to hone in on the picture of what the financial benefit to the city is gonna be on this as they build out their business model, which they are currently doing, and sending some signals that things are going pretty well. So
Above and beyond just the base rent amount that the city agreed to.
Does
Alderman.
does this expand or contract the amount of land inbound or?
it should not, I'll expand upon that point in a second, but no, it is reflective of the lease that we signed with the aerial map, addendums that we agreed to. Now, we did agree to lease that full 90+ acres, right? But there's a whole western section of that is floodplain right now. They're doing some engineering work that they think they can drain it and possibly have this as an over 100-acre site. Now, for our purposes here, the larger it gets, the more land they can rent, the more revenue comes into them, the more our percentage increases, right? So there'll be some, like I said, obviously we can't just go into a large training project like that. There's gonna be both at the state and county and local level. We're gonna have a lot of conversations, a lot of planning, a lot of engineering, schematics, all that stuff. But so we might actually have to bring this back later down the road if the deal looks like it's going to expand, but that would be to our benefit, right? Because this is empty property. There's nothing, it's been pretty economically dead. We're getting a few $1,000s tops a month out of it. Now we're gonna be, it should be a legitimate economic engine for the city.
On top of that rent, they're also agreed to pay for the property taxes, leasehold taxes, which we weren't getting either.
Correct. We're making payments in lieu of taxes, so we'll be getting property tax revenue off there. So it is going from zero to something.
Yeah,
And something should, I don't want to put a number on it, because I don't have a number. Something I'm optimistic based on the economy, how we're moving things on rail, which is happening more, not less, housing booms, all that stuff. So.
Any other questions for Tom? Thank you. We need to do a roll call. Oh, need a motion. Jump the gun there. Alderman Roll, second Alderman Fairwell on the question. Please do roll call.
Alderman Roll.
Aye.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman McGee.
Aye.
Alderman Fairwell.
Aye.
Alderman Ruthenberg.
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
Six ayes, Your Honor.
Carries. All right, Tom, did everybody get this letter?
What you have?
Okay. All right, I have a statement, but I'm probably gonna go off script. My attorney's gonna get mad at me. This is about the data center. As we all know, everybody in this room has strong opinions about this topic. Nothing up to this point has been submitted. Nothing still officially has been submitted. I have been given a letter today that I've given to the alderman, and I would like to discuss an executive because it involves city property. However, nothing's been submitted to PZBA. I have personal feelings, I've already said, that I don't think an industrial use belongs in the middle of our town. I know I share that sentiment with a few of the people on the council that I've discussed this with. However, there is a process in place, would have to go through planning and zoning, but this letter, I'll read the statement, so I don't go too far off what I can say, what I cannot say. I probably already said too much, but we're supposed to stay non-biased as elected officials for the city, but I think I made it pretty clear, we all have concerns here. So I wanted to make the council aware that we got this letter from Mr. Dawson, representing the hospital ownership group, and who spoke at public comment last month. Staff provided you a copy of this letter. To briefly summarize in the letter, Mr. Dawson acknowledges the many concerns raised by residents about the proposed location of a data center at the former Metro South Hospital property. He then goes on to offer an alternative approach for the council's consideration. As you know, I have to bring everything to the council. I can't just throw it in the garbage. Here's my transparency on sending stuff to the council that I'm getting. So their proposal is a land swap deal with property that's owned by the city in an industrial area of town. The company would transfer ownership of the hospital site after they pay the full expense of fully demolishing the entire site and transferring ownership to the city. Proposal would come with the understanding that the group would pursue development in the industrial section of town under the city ownership. Letter further outlines the company's plans to address public concerns related to water and power consumption, noise, pollution, and other concerns. The ownership group characterizes the proposal as potential long-term economic development opportunity for the city and has requested further discussion with the city. As I have said multiple times, and will repeat to be very clear, no decisions have been made. This is the only communication in writing that I've received to this point with any details. Any future consideration of this matter will occur through the appropriate public processes. Like I mentioned, it has to start at PZBA, which they have not submitted anything. With ample input from the city council and the community, we will not be rushed into any decision based on anybody else's timetable. And just as an education process, since I know people pay more attention to city council meetings, we have a process of planning and zoning. Things have to follow legal requirements, 30-day notices, 60-day notices, public signage at locations, websites, newspaper notices. And that's for if someone wants to build a garage 2 feet outside where they're supposed to build a garage. In this case, we would be asking for multiple opportunities for public participation. If ever they apply through the process that we have in place. Currently, it is not zoned for this use. Any use at all, because it's a special use and it's been vacant for so long, would have to go through the entire non-abbreviated process. It's the most stringent zoning we have in the city is what that is zoned at. So I don't, probably not calming anybody's fears on what's going to happen and whatnot, but it has to go through multiple jumps of red tape. So you guys have the letter. We can discuss an executive. At that point, we can respond, say, whatever, go to PZBA. It's not going to go anywhere. It's going to go somewhere, whatever the case is, but it's got to go through the whole process. City clerk's announcements.
Hudson Heights will be this Saturday, at Double Play will start. It will travel to 9 different locations. All profit will go to Fire Buddies. If you have if you'd like any more information, please contact my office. This Saturday at the John D. Reeder Rec Center, the refresh begins. You can sign up at 6:30 a.m. at the John D. Reeder Rec Center. I'll be behind the building where the garden is. Let's work together to improve California Gardens 2.0. Save the dates, Juneteenth celebration at the John D. Reeder Rec Center, June 20th. The health fair at Mission Covenant Church, June 20th. Motorcycle blessings and blessing of the water, June 28th. The citywide garage sale, the signing up is now, it's free, and this will take place August 7th, 8th, and 9th. Monday will be the final day to accept sponsorships and to take parade applications and vendors for the party in the park. Remember, parade kicks off at noon on July 4th. The party at the Memorial Park will be 3 o'clock, and that will go to after the fireworks. Any questions, and you want to participate, you want to volunteer, please contact my office. I'm there every day, all day long.
Forgot to mention, I sent it to the Alderman earlier today. And I got additional good news regarding streetscaping of 119th. Really, the project's 119th through Grove, but there's two phases because two different funding sources. So this one is in regards to 119th to 127th, which we're effectively calling phase 2. IDOT has given me preliminary permits. It's the fastest I've ever seen anything turn around from IDOT. It's preliminary, but part of the process is a public hearing. We're going to distribute it, even though we're not required to distribute, but I want to distribute the flyer for the public hearing to every address on Western Avenue and also a block in both directions on side streets. We're going to put this in the paper several times. I've sent it, it's already on the Facebook page for the city. I've sent it to the Alderman. I'm encouraging them to share it also out there. IDOT is pretty stringent on what we can do. We have a preliminary framework based on our phase 1, which was Old Western, with some changes that IDOT's recommended already, but we've already mentioned we want to slow down traffic, we want speed, bump outs, we want trees, we want new lighting, but I encourage public to attend the meeting. A better showing is better response to IDOT, that we had a lot of public participation. So that meeting is going to be July 1st from 4 to 7. It's going to be an open dialogue meeting. The engineers are hosting the meeting. They will have all the documents, photos, drawings, everything at the meeting. Suggestions will be taken at the meeting before any final plans are submitted to IDOT. But the good news is that we're still on track for construction next year for at least phase 1. On another positive note, I met with the ownership of McDonald's today. And there's a possibility based on Hitchcock Design now possibly working with them on a few options that they will give us some property to do a monument sign, a welcome to Blue Island sign on private property, since there's no land available in that intersection currently on city property. So Hitchcock Design will put a few options together on that. That's kind of separate from the streetscaping because it's be on private property, similar to what we did with the marquee at 127th and Western being on private property. It's not a loophole per se, but there's no other land to do anything there. So if McDonald's is agreeable to hosting a welcome sign to the city, we're going to take them up on the offer, and they seem to be very agreeable to that. 119th and Western, we know. All right, that's what I have. Going back to City Treasurer.
I need a motion to approve the May 2026 Treasurer's Report.
Motion, Alderman Rolls, or second? Alderman Montoya on the question. Alderman Roll.
What is the status of the proceeds from the $12 million in loans we took out for the water infrastructure? Has that been collected?
It is reflected on.
I'm so sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah, no worries. I was just curious for the bonds that we took out for water infrastructure. What's the status of those?
Yeah, no answer. So you're asking where are the funds recognized?
Yeah,
on
so
the
we
treasurer's
collected the
report?
funds, and are they just sitting in a checking account? Like,
No, it's in, well, we have it in the Wintrust account. And it's shown here on the bond line of bond 2025 bond, 2026 bond. For the 6 million and 3.9 million.
okay, so like roughly 10 million is in a checking account. Okay.
It's a secure checking account that is above the FDIC requirements, so it's protected.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Clerk, please do the roll call.
Alderman Roll,
Aye.
Alderman Carr.
Aye.
Alderman McGee.
Aye.
Alderman Fairwell,
Aye.
Alderman Ruthenberg.
Aye.
Alderman Montoya.
Aye.
6 ayes, Your Honor.
Very City Treasurer.
Yes, also, Eisenhower High School Athletics, will be having a golf outing on Friday, July 17th at the Meadows Golf. It's a fundraiser for the athletic department, 8 a.m. shotgun. And if you are interested, you could, either call or email the athletic director, Kyle Rathbun. I accidentally forgot to the flyer with the QR code, so.
Got a couple more minutes before that.
Yeah. If anybody's interested, I know they need golfers.
Thank you. City Attorney.
We have an executive session.
Okay. City administration?
Just a couple items tonight. There was a press release issued by the Cook County Board President's Office today. Let's go ahead and read you the headline. Cook County announces property tax bills will be delayed, reopens $300 million loan fund for local governments. So we're still in it. We're looking at a 2-month delay. We just got this today, right? So, Mark and I and, Lauren Fulger with Kasperick, we'll do what we did last time this happened and, sit down. We're working on a cash analysis, so this is timely, and see what our options are. Do we need to consider taking advantage of a bridge loan? And if we do, then obviously we would get those terms and everything together and bring that back to the council for consideration on the 23rd. We should have the information we need to have this discussion on the 23rd. We've had instances where we've decided to go ahead with the bridge loan that was available. We've had instances where we've had other internal options and we've not done it. So I really do just want to, but our property revenue is going to be 2 months, it's going to be 8 weeks delayed, and we, obviously throws a wrench into things. So we're making plans to weather that. The other thing that I provided everybody is a draft of our temporary annual consumer confidence report. This is the annual EPA report that's done on our quality of water. It's actually 2 reports. It's our testing that's done at 122nd Street, and then there's an insert that we put in there as the last page, and that's the city of Chicago's similar report that they do for their testing. Obviously, we buy the water from Chicago, so it's important we understand what we're buying, and then we do some of our own treatment as well. On the good news side, everything, all of our testing came back at good numbers, good rates. We had no violations. We had no reporting violations, so we have a pretty clean bill of health here. How this will be distributed is this postcard will be sent to every water account, home, apartment, business in town, and then that gives them the
link.
The link. I'm also going to be putting a QR code on here. That's not on here yet. Like I said, this is a draft, and then that'll go right to the webpage so they can view the last 4 years of our community water testing. So go ahead and look that over. If you have, this is not gone out yet, it's not gone to the printer yet. If there's anything about it, you have any thoughts or anything, then please let me know. That's all I have for tonight.
Alderman Roll.
I just had a couple more questions on water, please. Back to the bonds, have we begun spending against that? Is there a timeline?
We've only very little. We've done some sewer televising work, and we've paid a little bit of engineering fees, but the bulk of the work's still in front of us. We are going to be bringing Travis Perry into a future meeting. This is probably going to be one of our points of discussion. We're really just not ready yet. We have an antiquated system and we don't have a lot of plug and play answers. So the engineers are working on, right now, the biggest challenge in front of us is a completed engineering solution, which we're still working on. And essentially, to put it in real layman's terms, bringing half the system down and making sure the rest of the city doesn't lose any water pressure only using the other tank, right? So that's pretty layman's way of saying it, but that is the engineering challenge in front of them, and it's going to require specialized solutions. So the mayor, myself, we've been pushing on this because we do want to get started, and we do think we're going to be working this year into next year on the water tanks are our priority.
Just to remind the council, we had to jump through several hoops because IEPA was going to start finding us. Our tanks are severely past the age of repair, and repairs that were not done in previous administrations and were deferred, we had to show movement to move towards that. We talked about the bid. The council have to approve any bids that come in. Alderman Roll.
Yeah, thank you for that, Administrator. And then I guess, is there documentation then that could be provided as far as where the $12 million estimate came from, or where should questions about that estimate be directed?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
If there's questions about the $12 million figure of need that we borrowed against, and where that calculation came from, where should those be directed?
So the calculations were sent by Travis to multiple meetings we had, where majority of that is the tanks. And then we added the replacement, upgrading the rest of the water meters in the city, and that's where you got the number.
If we're going off our estimates from Burke Engineering, those
And the
estimates.
IEPA violations that are some pumps and other things.
Those estimates show roughly $98 million in water infrastructure that's needed over approximately the next 20 years. This is the first, and to the reason the mayor, the reason the mayor is highlighting, this is the first $10 million investment in that very daunting pile of water infrastructure needs that the city has moving forward.
Thank you. And with regard to the funds, in doing a little analysis, I noticed that starting in 2021, it seems that the amount of revenue we collect at the water department, on penalties in particular, but overall, climbed quite a bit. We had a 3-year average about 300,000 a year in penalties, went up to $2 million by 2023. Can you speak to that? Are there repeat offenders behind that number?
We all know that we discussed this 5 years ago.
Yes.
The previous administration was not turning anybody's water off, and part of that was COVID.
So we're just saying, just to be clear then, that it just comes from following through on existing policy.
Majority is following through.
Operations is a big part of it. I'm happy to look at any analysis you have, Alderman, and talk about it in more detail. I'm not sure if you're referencing unpaid bills. Those can be tricky numbers in terms of ever realizing that money, I know, so, but in terms of increased revenue in from the water department, Mr. Patoska is probably the most educated to speak on the day in, day out work our staff is doing from the clerk's office to the Public Works Department, with our outside contractors, to repair what I would describe a seriously damaged water billing system that we inherited. And we've improved it, I think, considerably, and I think there's, like I said, I would let Mark maybe give a more detailed presentation on that in the future, if it's something you're interested in.
Thank you. And do we have a policy of assigning a minimum usage charge for
Yes.
water billing?
There are minimum usage charges based on the pipe that it takes to your home or your business.
And what's the purpose of a minimum use?
What's the purpose of a minimum use is to ensure all costs to operate the water system are covered, I think is my best answer for that.
We can analyze this if you give me specifics, Alderman.
Yeah.
We've discussed this, and all these predate our administration. We can always talk about amending and changing things. However, every city does this to cover our water system expenses. If anything, we don't charge enough in the city covered the water breaks and the manual hours of our Public Works Department and Water Department to cover that through any charges through minimal uses.
I appreciate that. It's just given that we borrowed 12 million, just want to make sure I have the full picture.
$12 million in a grand scheme of things for the city is a drop in the bucket. As the administrator said, $100 million in work, which doesn't even include lead line replacement, and everything else IEPA has unfunded mandates for every municipality and city. I've met with other mayors and members of both South Suburban and Southwest. It's an issue across the board, but most likely, affected towns that have a majority of lead lines, like us, Evergreen Park, Berwyn, Cicero, and the same age group of collar towns. We are an anomaly to the point where a lot of towns only were incorporated or developed post 1950s, 60s when lead was going out of favor. We are an old town, so we are like 90% lead. Our water replacement issues and infrastructure is a lot more costly per household than other neighboring towns. And when we analyzed our water rates 4 years ago, we were already still below the average because we directly pump from Chicago to Blue Island, thus the lower average rate per gallon per household water compared to other towns next to us.
I would just add to that, Mr. Mayor, that bonding and borrowing are synonymous, but when talking about them, but bonding is a dedicated source to repay these funds. In this case, that dedicated source is the water revenue, which you accurately pointed out is something that we've strengthened. So
We
I think this is
abated-
financially responsible.
And just so we know, we abate, there is no tax increase with bonds, it's covered out of the water fund. That's what the abatement was at the last meeting. We debate the bonds every year unless we want to roll it over to a tax increase. We cannot because we're not home rule and we fall under the PTAB, Property Tax Limitation District, and we can't do that without referendum. Any other questions?
Not for me, thank you.
Treasurer Rita.
Alderman Roll, going back to your first question, was that answered when you asked me about with the bonds?
Oh, yeah, sorry, it was just a general question, but it was answered, thank you.
Okay.
Alderman McGee.
Okay, so, with our water, I would say sometime last week, there was a significant, drop in eggs, Oh, can you hear me? Oh, can you hear me?
Maybe a little.
You might need the mic, I'm not sure.
Sorry.
All right.
Within the past, last week, I've noticed that it has subsided, but there was a significant, rotten egg smell to the water. In my area, are we, and from what I understand, it's hydrogen sulfide gas, so just wanna make sure that we're testing for that.
Okay, yeah, I mean, we do, to test for everything required by the EPA, and, I can definitely, put you in touch with one of our water operators, maybe get some more clarity on that. That's the first I'm hearing about the egg smell, so I don't know if it was widespread, it could have been localized, but it's worth looking into.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, City Administrator. Aldermanic announcements, reports, and comments. Alderman Roll.
Yeah, thank you. I just have a statement, please, real quick. Several years ago, my wife, Sarah, and I decided to get more involved. We were raising our children here in Blue Island, as generations in both of our families had before. And we saw so much unrealized potential in our beloved hometown. So we set out to learn more about the issues and to see if we could help. We aren't politicians and we don't work in government. We're just parents who want a better community for everyone. And we have endured much in pursuing so humble a thing. We first tuned into local government around the time that the hospital was closing, about 2018 to 2019, to find that city leadership seemed to be in complete disarray. The council was almost entirely paralyzed over political fighting and scandal, and financially, the city was flying blind, even needing to occasionally take out short-term loans to meet its obligations. That financial blindness was still an issue when I was first elected in 2021. And so I worked with the administration to obtain a decade's worth of the city's raw financial data and then to model it. Something I have done for large companies and school districts alike as a business intelligence consultant, bringing much needed clarity to once opaque financial positions. One of the biggest surprises to emerge from this new clarity was the discovery that the city had seemingly been running a regular annual surplus for several years, with revenues exceeding expenses year after year, while city leadership had bickered and fought, apparently unaware. The result was that we have now reinvested that surplus into fixing our streets and alleys, something most would have said was impossible not all that long ago. That one act of transparency and oversight yielded enormous positive results for the city. Financial modeling also allowed for better appropriations and the ability to track and post city spending in real time. But we have, for whatever reason, declined to make use of it. In fact, this council has neither conducted, overseen, nor been presented any robust or in-depth financial analysis for many months now, even as we borrow millions of dollars at the taxpayers' expense, or as we raise property taxes on residents, many of whom already pay far too much to begin with, all so that select businesses get a break. Even worse, not only has this council failed to conduct sufficient oversight, it has on several occasions tried successfully to shut it down altogether. Whether it's the rushed annexation of a new property into the 7th Ward, the city's use of AI surveillance to track innocent citizens with no oversight, or accounting for how our decisions might raise taxes or sink property values. This council has actively and repeatedly voted down calls for simply more analysis and oversight. This is a legislative body, and like any legislative body, it exists not only to make and amend laws, but to oversee the function of and spending in our government. We were not sent here to be a rubber stamp to the whims of the executive, or to hide from public accountability. There is enough of that going on right now. We are here to be the eyes, ears, and voice of the people, and to ensure that the government is working for them. I think we should all ask ourselves, if we are not here to serve the public, then why are we here? Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Fairwell.
Just wanted to note about Marie Minderman's, I thought, excellent presentation today about the data center issues. that, clearly, given what the administration passed out to us today, from the, proposed operator of a data center, that, couldn't have been better timed, so thank you. And Marie had shared with me the document, today, so I could see it. So I do have it, and I will forward it to the administration. I would really appreciate if it could be brought up, at a future committee of the whole meeting. Not only was it the document she read was very useful, but also she's, of course, as her way, supported it with tons of footnotes and supporting links and so forth. So it's a useful document for us, I think, to, help us deal with situations like this. So thank you very much for that. Secondly, I'll just say, with regards to what Alderman Roll just said, that a thing that I noticed recently, which I found disappointing, is that the city has a transparency portal. It's blank. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other Alderman? Now we need a motion to executive session. Motion by Alderman McGee, second by Alderman Fairwell, all in favor, say aye.
I.
Oh, and I'm dying. Oh, break. No break.
Alderman Fairwell, second by Alderman Roll. Sign. Yeah. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And executive, property issues regarding city and also imminent probable litigation. All right. Now we need a motion to open committee of the whole. Is there a motion? Alderman Fairwell, second by Alderman Carr. Skip pledge, roll call.
Hold on. Alderman Roll. Alderman Carr,
Present.
Alderman McGee,
Here.
Alderman Fairwell,
Here.
Alderman Ruthenberg,
Here.
Alderman Montoya,
Here.
Alderman Johnson.
All right, relatively a lot of just discussion or putting in your heads ideas in this cow. The first one is offenses against persons and property, the Code of Blue Island. Who's updating us on this?
I can do that.
All right.
All right. This relates to what we were talking about with motorbikes and motor scooters. I put some updates into. That's
I
not.
know what this is.
Okay.
I do know.
Sorry, I thought this was point one.
This is, proposed by Alderman McGee.
Correct.
Okay, I'm reading it now. So basically the change would be incorporating, for purposes of the section, city property means any structure, building, parking lot, or open space, adjacent land, or other item, or real or personal property that is owned by, operated by, or leased to the city, but excluding rights of way. City property may not be used for the purpose of conducting civil immigration enforcement operations. Prohibited civil immigration enforcement operations include but not limited to using city property as a staging area, detention area, processing location, operations base, or any other related function. This section is not to be deemed or interpreted as restricting the city or its employees from complying with civil immigration enforcement operations pursuant to a valid criminal warrant or otherwise as required by state or federal law or by order of competent jurisdiction. Right?
Right, I looked at examples that are used in different cities, put together this ordinance, request, we're gonna keep.
Question, Alderman Farrell and Alderman.
I, so basically, in agreement with the idea, I've got a couple things, little research, just a couple of things that I'd like us to consider as we look at this. Was basically, I'll just go through the bullet points. What happens if ICE arrives with an administrative warrant versus a judicial warrant? Does the ordinance actually give officers clear guidance? In other words, we really be locked down on this language. So there's very little room for interpretation, or there's really good training, because we know what's gonna happen if we misstep. And related, do we have exposure to federal preemption challenges? And I guess also, will there be a companion policy or general order governing how police officers should respond to immigration officer requests? So it's all kind of the same thing, which is just, I think it's a great idea, but we know we're up against, 9,000-pound gorilla here, and we really gotta be protected.
Alderman McGee.
And that's exactly my thing, we actually need a companion, like you stated, a local city ordinance that, this is only, small portion of town.
Okay.
I do not know what's in place at the police department right now. I know they definitely have policies related to this that are already in existence. So it's something I can pull so that you can look at. I don't think it's something that, isn't already in place.
Okay.
This is just something new that is not in place here.
Any other questions? Are we going, I would submit any questions or additions you want to see this before the next agenda, or you want to keep on the next cow agenda? You want to start with this?
Start somewhere. Yeah.
All right, we'll put it on the next, council.
No, I'll provide you with the information about the, police department's policy, so that you're aware of what it is, and then if you believe more is needed, a different ordinance.
The motorbike scooters update, I believe something recently changed on this, right? Why not doing, right?
Yeah, I just provided you guys with the new legislation regarding motorbikes. And what the Illinois law is. And we have laws here consistent with the statute and the updates.
So, Alderman,
I think that doing it at the state level is where it was needed. And, I like the verbiage that they put in there, with regards to, toy vehicles and stuff.
And we follow Illinois state law.
I'm glad this is a problem we didn't tackle, so glad it came out of the state.
There you go.
Unlike other issues that we're waiting on. All right, so that one's good. We don't do anything at this point. Discussion regarding unincorporated areas contiguous to Blue Island. So this is a combination, this is just a topic of discussion. We have two very large unincorporated areas to the east and to the west of the city. One of them is unincorporated Blue Island. They use a Blue Island dress, they use our water system, and they use our police and fire currently. We have annexed a small portion of it to solve a small problem that was imminent, but there's a larger area that has been recently put up for sale by the old Crumpcore refinery, and that is unincorporated. I don't have to say my fears, we don't control what's next to us. It's a large enough section, it's probably bigger than the hospital property. It's the old Crumpcore refinery, and we don't control it, it's not within our boundaries. And we already provide water and sewer and police and fire to that area, and it's already everybody thinks it's Blue Island anyway. So the conversation would be interested in incorporating that area so we control what's immediately next to us, so what people think is already in our town. That's one section. The other section, I was in conversation with Alton Farnwell. There is a very large, and this is something we need to look into, it's even possible, but we do board risk on probably two sides, very large rail yard that is unincorporated. And it seems like Riverdale recently, meaning within the last decade, incorporated up to Halsted, that half of the yard, but the western portion of the yard that's bordered by Blue Island is still unincorporated. We know how much valuable real estate property is for rail, and also controlling what's outside our boundaries. I know the alderman might have new information that I'm not aware of, but it seems like the property might be going up for sale soon or being used for another purpose.
Yeah, I would say, all I know at the moment is that they've decided to discontinue the primary operations of operating the classification yard there. I see they're using it to store equipment and so forth. So we would need to, well, I guess my question would be, could we incorporate it no matter what the intention is? I mean, just so I understand what is possible, what's not possible.
We're gonna look into it. I don't have an answer. If we can easily do it through a motion.
Okay.
I wanted to get the temperature first and take our due diligence, but when we incorporate something, we don't own the land. It's still owned by private. And we wouldn't be responsible, like we answered with Crumpcore, we're not responsible for cleaning up the property. It would just be under our control where we can guide future use. And also, you know, the revenue is minor for vacant land, but it provides control where people think we already own it anyway, like the.
I think that they're, I'm just speculating, but I don't think that they're imminently going to abandon it, but it could be somewhere, like some time down the road that maybe that at some point something is gonna happen, so. It's not a rush, but it's something to look at.
None of this is a rush, but it's a concern on both fronts. And I think at the very least, I'm gonna have the law firm look into what we can legally do and bring it back to the council. We already know it's no liability to us. We're obviously, we're not responsible for what's the land, it's all privately owned. But I want to know all the factors involved. Blue Island has history, and I'm a history teacher, is history of not annexing land to the point where we've gotten smaller over the last 192 years of our existence. It's a shame because every town around us expanded and for example, all Alsip was unincorporated Blue Island. We never expanded. And the mayor at the time, Mayor Hart, would say, I want to grow tall and not out, or whatever that phrase was. I know that's why Crumpcore was never part of Blue Island. Blue Island never received a penny of tax revenue for 100 years. And people think we owned it. We never got a penny of revenue from that refinery that sat on our edges and polluted our town. So it's a shame. But now it's vacant land that's is up for sale right now. At least a very large portion of it south of 131st Street just went up for sale 2 weeks ago. And that made me think about putting this on the agenda along with the conversation I had with Alderman Farnwell about the rail yards to start doing some due diligence. If it's easily done without any real risk or liability, I want to look into it at least. So are you guys okay with that? Just looking into it right now? All right. Parental responsibility ordinance. This came out from other towns similar to doing these things to put some kind of fine on these massive gatherings that would cause damage to property or disturbances.
You add a sample ordinance?
Yeah, there is one here. It's basically anyone under 18, parent responsible for that child or person, is also cited. If their child engages in reckless behavior. There are similar ordinances in other municipalities. Chicago is looking to do it as well, and it's meant to discourage these big, group gatherings and for parents to be more involved in making sure they know where the children are. So, just an idea.
I mean, does it have to be just the big gatherings, or let's say they go to the park after school, or they cause ruckus, or they spray paint, is that the same?
Yes,
thing?
any public disturbance is what we list here, disorderly conduct, criminal damage to property, battery or fighting, curfew violations, reckless driving, trespassing.
I'm surprised we never had this in before.
Yeah, that's good.
So I guess we're just telling kids to stay off the streets by honor system. Right. Well, say we don't have it on the book, so yeah, it's honor system. There's curfew left.
I couldn't say that I know.
Any issues to this?
Parents were.
If there is, please let the attorney know. We got to do this to the next meeting. That's what I have of this. And also just again, rumors, but the toxic topic that was discussed earlier is being from another builder is being pitched at neighboring towns to our southwest right now. So it's going to be on our borders no matter what we do. You haven't already heard that. The old incinerator. All right, any other issues from the Alderman or comments? Alderman Farnwell?
I know we've been here a long time, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I think it's really important. I don't know where we are in hiring a new public works director. I'm not, pardon me, let me be very careful about hiring a public works director. But I really think we need to get to it. They're strapped.
I'd like to, they're strapped on, yeah, we have openings in public works. I'd like to restructure, maybe possibly to the way it was similar to what was done before, where there's more support to the water department.
Yes, I agree.
So yes, it's now that, some other things are off my plate, I'd like to do that, yes.
Okay, yeah, I think it's important. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other Alderman comments, questions? If not, we need a motion to adjourn. Motion by Alderman Fairwell, second by Alderman Carr, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.